What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show, man. Recap with Mo. Well, we're getting ready to get into a brand new episode breakdown of Tyler Perry's Ruthless. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit and it that's going down, alright? So the episode we're getting ready to get into is for season 5, episode number 1, titled Children of the New Paradise. Now the synopsis states, the highest narrowly escapes the FBI as the agents are pursued by the cartel, resulting in a dangerous defense. Ruth finally comes face to face with her daughter, Callie. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this thing. Alright, y'all, so we kicked this episode off exactly where we left off with the highest, George and Lewis, and of course Miss Bridget, she's going to meet the Raku. So, George is freaking out right now because he's trying to figure out, where the shots are coming from or whatnot. And Brother Lewis is over here literally in tears because his girl Bridget, as I stated before, has gone to meet the Raku. So, of course, he's pissed off at this moment. He's yelling at George, talking about, hey, man, didn't I tell you to get all the guns? Whoop, whoop, whoop. But what makes this situation worse is the highest sitting over here on one knee talking about, Y'all honestly thought this was going to work. Y'all done messed up. Y'all, you done messed up, right? You done messed up, right? And he tells them that the Raku has smiled upon them. So now Brother Lewis has had it. He's telling the highest to shut the heck up and not in those words, right? And then all of a sudden we hear someone repeating the same phrase telling him, no, you shut the heck up. And I'm sitting over here like Lewis and Greg, like, who in the heck is that? And it just so happens to be Daikon, Manny, and 2 other soldiers with him. So of course, after seeing this, the highest is excited about this. He gets up to greet, Daikon or whatnot with a holy kiss. And so, from there, we see Daikon looking directly at Lewis. And now in the finale of the previous season, Lewis was talking mad crazy to Daikon over at the pavilion. And I think he hit him too. Or was it George? No, I think it was Lewis. But either way, Daikon took this opportunity right here to get back at Lewis, and he let one go and hit him in his chest or the side of his shoulder or whatnot. And he was like, man, look, man, I told you I surrender or whatnot, whoop, 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 but you still, yeah, he definitely did. Now, after that, they went ahead and picked him up and went on about their way. So anyhow, from there, we now head over to see the yellow bus crew meandering throughout the woods and whatnot. Now, they don't know which way to go. They lost and they fussing. Now, Joan is trying to keep everyone together. Let's be patient. Let's just focus on where we need to go. But not only that, be on the lookout for booby traps. Like I've heard there were bear traps here and there. So just keep your eyes in front of you or whatnot. Keep that in mind. So anyhow, while she's trying to be positive, Sister Zane is throwing all of this negativity out in the atmosphere, bringing everybody down. And of course, nobody wants to hear that. She's sitting over here talking about, look, we're never going to make it. There's no way we can outrun the Raku. Like, shut the heck up. Like, this is not the time nor the place. We try to be quiet and get up out of here. Keep our minds peaceful, right? So anyhow, from there, we see this school bus in the middle of nowhere, but we hear the kids chanting, we are the Raku, we are the Raku. And we see Ruth coming out of nowhere, pulling up from behind. And she looks to this, looks through the window in the back of the bus or whatnot. And she sees Callie standing there, her daughter. So, of course, she's trying to get to her, but there's a gentleman outside of the bus dressed in red, and I'm assuming he just took a smoke break or something like that, because I'm not sure why he was standing outside, or maybe he was avoiding, the shots or whatnot. I'm not sure. But either way, Ruth is not able to get to the bus nor to her child because he gets back on the bus immediately and drives off, all right? Now, I don't even know if he knew that Ruth was back there or not. I don't think he even cared, but anyhow, he's gone. So anyhow, we head back over to the yellow bus crew where we see them still arguing. They still fussing and fighting, don't know where they're going. Now, Joan tells them to pretend that they're on a quiet walk in the forest or something like that, right? So while she's trying to keep them focused, she's not focused her daggone self, because as she's walking and trying to be peaceful, she walks right into the bear trap that she was trying to warn them about. And I'm like, girl, And what makes matters worse is that when she falls down to the ground, the only person that's trying to help her is River. And, you know, River is trying to stay with her, of course, because she knows where the money is. She's the only one that has the access. But, of course, he doesn't want to admit that. Now, on the flip side of it, you got Lacey and Zane standing over here looking directly at River, talking about what you want us to do. Like, you think we're going to pull... You think we're going to pull that bear trap? No. And Zane at least apologizes to, to Joan about the situation, and it seems sincere, but she leaves because Lacey has already told Joan, like, girl, it's way too late for you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What you want me to do? I can't, girl. So she runs off. And that leaves River and Joan by themselves. So, of course, River's trying his best to remove the bear trap from her ankle, but he's unable to do so. So, anyhow, from there, now we head over to the compound where we see the elder mother and her crew waiting on the arrival of the highest. Now, she's standing out there, and the Rolls Royce pulls up to the gate. So, of course, when she sees Manny, she's trying to see where the highest is. So once the highest finally steps out of the vehicle, she's like, all praise to the Raku, all praise. And, of course, he greets them or whatnot, and he asks them to stay and to stay loyal to the Raku. Most importantly, stay loyal to him because he is the Raku. Anyhow, the elder mother has decided upon herself that she was going to take these, these little engines that could with her and go out and fight against these soldiers with weaponry, right? And of course, Manny is standing there because the highest has went back to go talk to Daikon about the traitors or the so-called traitors, right? And the highest had conveyed to Manny to, keep them safe or whatnot, instruct them on what they needed to do. Now, so of course, when Manny goes over to talk to, the elder mother about this situation, about them having real weapons of destruction out there, she didn't want to heed that call. She slaps him in the face, and then she tells him to mind his own daggone business, essentially, right? So, of course, Manny has no choice but to allow her to go about her business because she is the elder mother supreme, all right? So, anyhow, from there, we head back out to the woods where we see Joan and River. Now, at this moment in time, Joan is feeling weaker and weaker due to the lack of blood or whatnot. So she's been losing quite a bit of blood, and River has been unsuccessful with removing the bear trap or whatnot. So at this moment in time, he's just trying to keep her awake, trying to keep her going or whatnot. So he tries to bring up the memories of their past. When he first got there, he had just graduated from law school and how she hated him and all of that good stuff. And she was like, look, River, I'm sorry, but I'm unable to laugh at this moment because I'm in so much pain. So, of course, they start talking about something else, which brings up the money. All right. So Joan tells River that she knows that the only reason why he's deciding to stay with her is because of the money. And River is sitting over here like, me? No, we good friends. Like, I'm here for you. I'm trying to stay here for you. So Joan is seeing through that, and she's telling him like, look, the only way you're going to be able to access that account is with me and through me, right? And you're thinking that I'm going to take the $2 million in it and keep it for myself. And River's like, no, you wouldn't do that. And Joan says, yes, I would. And I was like, bro, you better believe her when she said what she said when she said it, bro, because she meant that from the heart. She in pain too. Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. So anyhow, after they have that little conversation, Joan then passes out, which, causes, River to panic or whatnot, because he knows that if she's gone, the money is gone. So anyhow, we'll get back to that later. So now we head over to see the elder mother, who's still singing that song that just doesn't end. And I promise y'all, I'm sitting here like, please, somebody put her out of her misery. Like, at least just stop the song. So anyhow, from there, while she's singing that song, we hear the shots going on in the background. So it's an all-out war in the back. So we see the FBI agents, we see Desiree and her crew, they hiding out behind this vehicle, and they going shot for shot against 3 other individuals hiding out in the woods or whatnot. So we find out that these individuals are members of the cartel. Now, their main purpose of being here is to find out where Lilo is, first and foremost. And then I'm guessing that the other option is for the money. So we got to get to Tyrone because we hear his name is mentioned right here in this scene. Now, the young lady right here, her name is Keys. Now, Keys is a little reckless. I can already tell that she's a little antsy. She's ready to prove herself to the cartel or whatnot. So she's trying to put some bodies underneath what she got going on, right? And then to her left, we see Heat. And then to his left, we see Glitch, who is Lilo's brother. So he's trying to stay calm, cool, and collective. His main goal is to find out where his brother is, and then we can focus on where the money is. So he doesn't want any harm to come to the highest, aka Tyrone, at least at this moment, all right? But of course, she's telling him that she has eyes on him, like, what you want me to do? I can go ahead and take him out right now. Whoa, he was like, no, absolutely not. Just chill out. So from there, we head back over to the compound where we see the highest is now leaving the vehicle, and two of the members of the compound run up on the highest to, voice their concerns or whatnot. But before they can even dive into the conversation, there are some shots that ring out, and one of the ladies, end up getting hit or whatnot. So she falls to the ground. Next thing we see Manny and another soldier with him, getting to the highest and taking him to a safe place, right? So now we head back over to the woods where we see the elder mother still singing that same old song, all the way to Raccoon way, all the way. And I was like, daggone it, somebody do it. And I guess old girl Keys heard me, right? Because now she's had enough of that jingle as well. So she gets up, she starts to zoom in on the elder mother. I was like, don't do it. And then she looks at the hand, and then she pops the hand. And I was like, good job, because it stops the song, all right? She no longer she stopped singing, y'all. So I was appreciative of Keys at that time, all right? So, do what you need to do, sis. I'm right there with you. So from there, we head back over to the Rakadushi compound where we see George and Lewis. They locked up in the punishment trailer. And of course, St. Peter is off in there with them. So I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Peter, you stayed? All this time you were trying to get away. Now, all of a sudden, you... I'm so confused. I'm so very confused, right? So now we see the highest and Daikon coming into the punishment trailer. So as the highest is walking in, he tells everybody in the room that the Rock who protected us today. And Daikon tells him that he's always protected. And then they have their little moment together where they tell each other that they love one another. No, I love you. No, I love you more. And I'm sitting here like, what the heck is going on? What the heck is going on, man? So anyhow, I guess with Lewis feeling all the love in the room, he felt like he could say something to get on the good side of the highest. So he was like, man, we all love you, all of that good stuff. The highest declined his offer because he was like, shut up, clown. And of course, George didn't learn from it either because he's like, no, man, I'm sorry, man. We apologize, your highest. And he was like, no, you ain't sorry yet. You have yet to see the vengeance of the highest. And he talked about cutting off head. I was like, hold on, bro. We're not decapitating nobody. Not here and now. Not right now. But he was like, no, just get ready for it. Now, Daikon suggests to the highest that they sit down and try to figure out what their next steps are. So, of course, they leave from the punishment trailer and they tell St. Peter to stay there to make sure that they don't try to escape. Now, that's funny asking him not to do that when he was just trying to escape himself with River. So, it's very interesting to me because I don't see this working out the way that they're thinking it's going to work out. But we'll talk about that later at a later date. So, anyhow, going on from there. So back in the woods, we see Keys and Glitch. Now, at this moment in time, we find out very quickly that Glitch is only there for one reason and one reason only, for real, and that's to find out the whereabouts of his brother Lilo. Now, on the flip side, we got Sister Keys over here that's down for whatever. Because she's telling him, like, I'm proving myself to the cartel and I'm representing the cartel. So if I need to pop one in Tyrone, it's going to be one in Tyrone. So anyhow, he's like, look, man, we did not come here for that, but we need to get up out of here. Now, of course, she doesn't want to leave. So he was like, shoot, He looks over the barrel. He sees 3 men coming, and he was like, "Shoot, I'm getting up out of here." So he leaves her to defend for herself. So she was like, "Where you going?" He was like, "I'm gone." So, of course, about time she tried to get up, she looks around. They already on top of her, telling her to drop the weaponry. Now, at this moment in time, she can't be all that she was just talking about. Because so she was like, "Dad, go. Yeah, Sister Soldier, you just going to have to hold off. I'm sorry, baby girl." So, so anyhow, from there, we now head back over to the compound where we see the elder mother with no song in her heart. And all I can think about is, "No woman, no cry." Listen, it's quiet. It's peace. Just like Joan was talking about earlier, just walking in paradise. Look, we good. So she walking over there real slow, and I thought she was going to be calm. But you know what, y'all? She couldn't hold it in 1 ounce. Like, she had to let it out. And it just proves to me that she has the heart of 20 plus men. Like, she comes up on Manny and she tells this dude that, "I need you to get up, get out, and do something. Because you sitting over here guarding this gate, but we need you to go out here and get these injured people." And he was like, "Well, what else do you need me to do? There's so many people out there." She was like, "Man up. Man up. I'm out here. You see me crying? You see this hole in my hand, but I'm good. My heart is still strong." I was like, "Woo." I said, "Tell them, elder mother. Tell them, elder mother." So anyhow, the elder mother, she mean mugging old boy as she's walking through. I was like, what she got to say to him? She didn't say nothing. Old boy just stared straight. He ain't look over there in her vicinity. So anyhow, from there, we see Manny walking out into the woods. Now, Manny just so happens to walk up on Joan the River. So I'm like, daggone, how long did it take for them to disappear? Because if he just left and walked up on you, y'all ain't with no. Oh my gosh, man. I mean, oh boy just left. And then he was talking about, why are y'all out here? And why are y'all in those clothes? And I'm sitting here like, man, they were trying to run away, but they didn't run that far. And I was like, man, I at least thought y'all been at least 30 to 45 minutes away from the compound. So anyhow, River begs for him to help him release the bear trap from Joan's ankle or whatnot. Now, initially, he was looking at River and Joan, and he was like, man, look, y'all trying to run away from the Raku. I'm only here for those who are loyal to the highest in the Raku. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. This was the same dude that was telling George and Lewis that he was in it. So I'm like, man, are you flip-flopping on these folks, or are you really for the people? So I guess we'll find that out, right? So he does actually assist with removing the bear trap. And then, of course, he has to, pick up Joan or whatnot and take her back to the compound. And we'll get on that in just a moment. So anyhow, from there, on the other side of the woods, we see Ruth driving that vehicle like a bat out of what, right? So she driving that thing, almost hit Lacey and Zane. So they had to move up out of the way. She stops the vehicle. She was like, hey, y'all get in. Now, of course, Lacey is feeling some type of way because she honestly does not trust Ruth. She wants to get away. And she just doesn't feel like, Ruth has their best interest in heart. So, she was like, no, I ain't riding with her. No, I'm not going with her. Even though Ruth is telling them to get in the car, it's Zane that convinces Lacey to tag along. Now, she really doesn't want to, but Zane tells her that she's not going to allow anything to happen to her. And now I'm like, that's interesting because a lot of the things that happened to her previously in the last season, you were right there in the midst of it. So I'm like, how can I believe you when I know it wasn't her fault, but daggone, you were right there in the midst of it. When all them dudes did what they did to her, all of that, you were right there supporting. So I'm sitting here like, dang. You just can't get away, Lacey. So, oh my gosh. So anyhow, back at the compound, we see Manny and River. Now, River done put on his normal attire. He got his purple robe back on and whatnot. And Manny puts Joan down on the bench or whatnot. So then she eventually starts to wake up. And she was like, where am I? Where am I? And River conveys to her that they're back at the Raku compound and whatnot. So she was like, oh no, I thought we got away. I thought we escaped. And Manny is sitting over here panicking because he was like, look, River, you need to tell her to shut up. Because if somebody hears her saying that, we all in trouble, right? So River's like, man, I know. So anyhow, now, I'm glad that they were able to shush her in just in the right time, like right in the nick of time. Because now the elder mother is talking about, oh, another survivor, a Raku survivor. I'm so glad. And then she conveys to them that the highest has a message that he wants to share with everyone, so everyone has to meet up under the pavilion. Now, Manny is like, well, why can't he do it over the intercom? She was like, well, he wants to talk to everybody in person. This is a very big announcement or whatnot, so you needs to be there. Go ahead and pick her up and tag her along. That's what you need to do. So anyhow, they agree, so they get up and walk off, right? So anyhow, from there, we head back outside of the gates of the compound where we see Ruth pulling up with the ladies and they're all returning. So Ruth is trying to figure out how to get in. She's trying to plan this out. Now, of course, Zane and Lacey, they're feeling some type of way because they're trying to really understand why we got to continue to listen to you. Really, we're not with you. We're no longer part of the Raku. But unfortunately for you both, you part of the Raku today because you're going to be part of her plan. So as the elder mother like to say, Root, you're going to be Root today, all right? So anyhow, she tells them to go ahead and put their robes back on because you know that you cannot come into this compound dressed like you dressed. So she gives them the clothes to wear out of the trunk and they put them on or whatnot. So anyhow, from there, the next thing we see is Ruth, Lacey, and Zane walking throughout the compound, and they got on their robes or whatnot. And guess who we see? The elder mother. So the elder mother conveys to them that the highest is wanting to meet with everyone under the pavilion. He has a great message for them. Now, Ruth has an issue because she needs them to come along with her. Now, the elder mother doesn't really see a reason why 3 individuals need to take on the task that Ruth is telling her about. Now, she's telling the elder mother that they all need to go to the highest's trailer to make sure that the linen is clean and all of that stuff so it would be prepared when he got there. So, of course, the elder mother is like, it takes 3 of y'all to do that? And so Ruth is like, okay, we're not going to go back and forth about this. Do I need to go over here and talk to the highest and tell them what's going on? Now, of course, the elder mother doesn't want any problems, definitely when it comes down to the highest. So she was like, no, that's all right. And she walks on by. So after Zane saw what just went down, she tells Ruth that she just can't keep bullying her way throughout this whole situation. Now, Ruth looks at Zane and she was like, girl, do you want me to smack you again? And I'm like, tag. And you know what? I ain't even mad at Ruth right now because Zane is asking too many daggone questions. If you did not want to come, you and Lacey did not want to come, y'all did not have to get in that vehicle. Y'all didn't have to come. Y'all could have stayed out there in the wilderness, right? And roam around for 40 plus years, all right? Do what y'all need to do, all right? But don't take it out on Sister Ruth because y'all didn't want to come. Y'all made that decision. Y'all made that choice for yourself, all right? So anyhow, she tells them to stay put until she gets back or whatnot, and she goes over to the highest's trailer. Now, when she leaves them, here comes Peter. Now, Peter's coming up from behind, and he's like, hey, why are y'all out here? And, of course, they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. And he tells them that the highest has a message that he's conveying to everybody. So you need to head over to the pavilion now. So, of course, he got the thing in his hand. So who are we to object? So, they follow suit and they head over there to the pavilion. Now, when we get over to the pavilion, that dude's sitting over there with his slippery earls on trying to give us the same message that he's been telling us for the past few seasons. So I'm like, man, what's new? He's talking about, oh, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be miraculous. It's just going to be a beautiful sight. Just wait for it. And I'm like, what are we waiting on? For the alphabet people to come in here and come after us? Like, what are we doing? So, the elder mother, she's just so excited and they're praising the highest and the Raku and all of this good stuff, and he's just eating it up. The one thing that I did get from this message is he states that, the Raku will be able to discern the difference between an individual with a pure heart and one that's a traitor. So I'm like, how is that going to happen when you're the Raku And your discernment has been off quite a bit because you got traitors off. You got one sitting to your left right now. I'm just saying, like, I said, how is this going to work? So anyhow, after he's finished with his message or whatnot, he decides to come on home. So he goes into the trailer and we see Sister Ruth in her lingerie sitting on his bed or whatnot. Now, the highest, he seemed cool with it. He just got one question: why are you in here? So when she tells him why he's in there, she just wanted to satisfy him, just show her appreciation of this great victory today. He was cool with it. But you know who was blocking? Daikon. Daikon didn't like it one bit. He didn't like how she was dressed. He didn't like none of it. He's telling the highest not to trust her. She's a traitor. She took all of the money. And she was like, I never did such thing. I didn't do none of that. Now, I was like, what did you put in the back of that trunk? So anyhow, he was like, so you didn't touch the safe? She was like, what safe? So he goes in there and checks the safe. And then the highest comes back out and he was like, you didn't touch any money. And she was like, no, I told you I'm here for the Raku. Now you here for your... So I was like, look, you got traitors everywhere. You're not able to discern who's the one and who's not the one. So, of course, he kisses her, but at the same daggone time, it's eating Daikon up. He cannot take it. So he's still pulling the highest away, telling him, don't trust her. Don't trust her. She's the devil herself. And I'm sitting here like, bro, leave it alone. So now the highest is like, look, y'all need to calm down. We can have all of this pleasure together. I was like, what? Is this what we doing? So Daikon is looking at Ruth. Ruth is looking at Daikon. Ain't nobody looking at the highest at all because this is what Daikon wanted. He wanted to spend time with Ruth. Now, the question is, did he get any time to spend with Ruth since he was with the highest? Anyhow, I digress, man. So from there, the next morning, we see them all laid up in the bed, and then there's a knock on the trailer door, and it just so happens to be Manny. So Manny comes in, and he tells the highest that the elder mother has a message for him, but he's not able to give him the message because she ain't told him enough. So she wants to tell the highest in person. So he was like, all right, send him in. Now, Ruth and Daikon, they laying up here bucket naked. And of course, Ruth is like, do you need me to put on some clothes? Now, it's funny that she's the only one that asked that. Not Daikon, not the highest. And of course, the highest is like, no, let them admire our bodies. And I'm like, and then when the elder mother walks in, she was like, Ruth, highest. And she was like, oh, Daikon? So anyhow, the elder mother then tells him that there's a man dressed in red that's here with the kids. Now, when Ruth hears that the children are here, she immediately goes in, that mode like, okay, I need to see what's going on. She was like, the kids are here? And she was like, yes. So anyhow, from there, we head over to the pavilion and we're introduced to this man by the name of Obadiah. Now, Obadiah has been overseeing the training and the educating of these children. Now, he's telling the highest that these kids are ready and willing to do anything that the Raku sees fit. In other words, whatever the highest needs, that's what's going to be done by these kids, all right? So they're chanting, we are the Raku, we are the Raku. And I was like, here we go with another daggone song. And of course, everybody's enjoying it, except for one woman who's awfully intrigued by one of the kids, specifically by the name of Olivia. Now, Olivia, I'm assuming, is standing up there chanting, we are the Raku, because she gets up, Olivia, is that you, Olivia? Now, she doesn't respond back to her, but Obadiah definitely responds to old girl because he tells her, no, you need to sit down first and foremost, but secondly, those are no longer your kids. So old girl is like, what, for real? No, these ain't your kids, they belong to the Raku. They belong to the highest. Even though he ain't had one, they belong to him. So anyhow, she was like, oh, okay. So they began to chant again. And this time there's a young one that comes up from the back. And I said, who is that? And it just so happens to be Ruth's daughter, Callie. Now, Callie is coming up to the front to present herself to be part of this group, the Children of the New Paradise. And she says that we are the children of the Raku. All right. And all Ruth can do is sit there and shake her head in disbelief because she thought this was her opportunity to get away. Unfortunately for her, she's in it to win it. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do now. Like that money in the trunk. Like, I don't know how you... I don't know what you're going to do, Ruth. I don't know what you're going to do. But anyhow, y'all, that's the end of this episode. Thank you guys for checking it out. If you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit and it that's going down. I will talk to y'all soon on the next one. Peace.